What's going on, guys? It's me, NJT, but you can call me Nick, and that's right, we're back. And we're, doing another book review, FNAF, Fazbear, Frights 5, Bunny Call. I really enjoyed this book. This one was one of the best, I'd say. It had some really good stories. All the stories were good. None of them were boring. They all were, full of really good stuff, and there's quite a few good lore connections as well. So, um, I don't know if this is my favorite book in the series. It might be because it's that good, but I don't know. It might be. It might be. I'm not sure. But yeah. So there was three stories. One of them was very weird. And they were all really, really good, as you know. And the Stitchrath at the end was Stitchrath. So yeah. Let's get into it, guys. So first story, Bunny Call. Um, so it's about this guy called what's his name, Bob, and he goes on vacation with his family. He's got a wife called Wanda. He's got three kids: Cindy. What are the other names? Cindy. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure it out. So yeah, they went on like to this camp. He's got three kids, which is kind of, and a wife, which is kind of convenient because Scott Cawthon has three kids and a wife, so I think maybe they did that on purpose. Um, so yeah, they went to this place, a camp, and when Bob was driving up a hill to get to the camp, he's like, this is a weird spot. The camp shouldn't be really here, which was weird. He thought that. And so they're staying at this place. It's called Cabin Nutter. And then the kids were making jokes about, no, Cabin Nutter, we're staying in Cabin Nutter. And so Bob was like, oh, you guys are gonna go nuts in Cabin Nutter. And so Bob, with his family, he's like he doesn't hate them, but like how do I explain it? He like, um, ever since the kids came into my life, it was he doesn't have time to do anything anymore. He has to do all the stuff for the kids, and he just doesn't have time for anything. But he still loves them, yeah. But like he doesn't really. You get it, yeah. You get it. Um, so they get set up and they get to the camp. They take the stuff out. And Bob gets handed paper. He has to go to the front office or whatever, to get the paper signed and stuff. So yeah. So he goes there. He's waiting in the line, and he's just looking around the place. Um, and yeah, the line keeps going, and then finally his turn. So he signs all the papers, and then like apparently those activities for the his kids, and there was about like 120 in total, and excuse me, Wanda apparently signed the kids up for like 70. Like, Jesus, man, 70 activities. I mean, I've been to a camp before, and I only did like six. Like, come on. Anyway, it was 120 yeah, something like that, 120 activities, but I don't know how the managers would have to manage all the time. They'd have to do so much work, and anyway, um so then he goes up, does all that stuff, and then the lady, says, "Oh, do you want to do a bunny call?" And then Bob's like, "Oh, what's a bunny call?" And then the lady pointed to, this boy, she pointed to this bunny, and, she said that that bunny that she's pointing to, Ralpho, that's his name, Ralpho, he comes in the morning at 6 a.m., which is kind of convenient. Wait, 6 a.m. or 5 a.m.? I don't know. He comes at like 6. No, he comes at 5. He comes at 5, I think. I don't know. He comes in the morning at 5 o'clock or something, and he goes bang, bang, bang with the cymbals, and he wakes up all the kids, and it's just a thing that she was saying, just to it's just to wake up the kids, just to, give them a little bit of a scare. And then Bob's like, oh, yes, I'm gonna get back for all the naughty things that my kids have done. Well, not like naughty things, but he's just gonna do that. Um, so he just wants to get back at them. Because as I was saying before, he doesn't have time for anything. Oh yeah, so the three kids' names, Cindy, Aaron, and Tyler. Cindy being the youngest, Tyler being the oldest, and Aaron being in the middle. So yeah. Um, so Bob's like, all right, I'm gonna sign up for the bunny call, and he signs up to it. And so I'm gonna find out what time he comes. He comes at. It's like a wake up call. It's like a wake up call. So yeah, you come into your cabin screaming, and he comes in between 5 and 6. Okay, he comes in between, I don't know, like 5:30, in between 5 and 6. So yeah, that's when Ralpho comes. So he visits every cabin that signs up for one, and he goes and wakes everyone up. So yeah, I mean, I'd probably sign up for one of those if I was at a camp like that. It would scare me though. It would very much scare me. So yeah, he signs up for that. And he has to go now. He has to go unload everything from the car and take it all to cabin Nata. Nata. So yeah, he goes, grabs all the stuff from the car, and then he gets it, puts it in the cabin, of course, and his kids are there, and apparently there's like a picnic that they have to go to at like 6 or something. Um, so they have to go to that. They go to the picnic, eat, and yeah, I think that was the only activity for the first day. And yeah, so they go to that picnic. Um, let me just make sure it is a picnic. Yeah, it would be a picnic, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, picnic anyway. Um, so when they went to the picnic, the kids were like, oh, well, not when they went to the picnic, before they went to the picnic, they were looking at the cabin. There wasn't any bunk beds, but there was a part on the top of the cabin where you grab a ladder and you climb up, and there's beds up there. You know the top of the cabin. It's like a sort of like an attic, but not really an attic. It's where beds are. You should get it. And then so they go up. That's where the kids are sleeping. Even though they wanted bunk beds, but they still went up there. And then there is a trap door in the cabin. Like underneath it, there's a trap door. Um, so there's a trap door that leads to the bottom of the cabin, which is yeah, I don't know why there would be a trap door, but there just is. Um, so yeah, there's a trap door there, and then they go to the picnic, and then when they get back, it's obviously time for bed. So Bob and the kids and stuff, they all go to sleep, and then speaking of sleep, yeah, so they go to bed, and Wanda gives Bob earphones or earpieces, headphones, or like stuff like, not headphones, but the things, just earplugs. She gives him earplugs because all the kids and Wanda, they'll snore very loudly. But Bob doesn't snore, which is weird, but he does not like their snoring. So yeah, that's weird. He doesn't snore, but everyone else snores in his family. Anyway, so he puts on the earplugs, and they'll start to go to sleep, and then, um, Bob does get up. He gets up in the middle of the night, um, and he gets up, he goes out of his, cabin, and then there's just a guy out there, you know, doing he's smoking or whatever. He's doing that stuff. He's just sitting out there. Bob has a chat with him, and start talking about like their dad, and Bob was telling a story like one time he tried to get something and then he knocked everything down and his mum was gonna scream at him or something like that. I don't know. They were just telling each other stories, and so then Bob goes back into the cabin and he stays up for a while. He actually so it's like around uh 4 in the morning and he's still up and he starts counting down um the minutes till Ralphio comes. He keeps going like, oh, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, he keeps doing that, which is weird. He just keeps counting down the seconds or the minutes, sorry, that when Ralphio comes, and he keeps counting and counting, and then he realizes that it was a very bad idea because now he doesn't want Ralphio to come. He he regrets it and he's like, oh, I can't stop it now. I can't, you know. And so then he gets up and he has to he wants to stop the bunny call. So he's like, oh, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? And so he figures that he should go to reception to see if there's anyone there to see if they can stop it. Which I mean, no one's gonna be there at what, like 5 in the morning. So he runs to reception. He goes, it's quite a long way. I'm from Cabin Nutter. Cabin Nutter's like very far away from reception. So he goes there. He sees if anyone's there. Um, and what do you guys think? No one was there. So no one was there. And he figures that maybe Ralphio is already at the cabin, and he gets very scared. So he runs back to the cabin. So he went back and forth, and then when he gets to the cabin, nothing's there. Ralphio's not there. And then he starts hearing noises. He starts hearing weird noises. When he was gonna go to bed, but he keeps hearing noises, and then he hears something at the door, and then he opens the door, and Ralphio's there. Before I read this story, I thought Ralphio was gonna be small. I thought he was gonna be like this big. I thought it was just gonna be a little bunny, like a toy, but no. He's apparently the size of um the size of Bob, and I think he's a bit bigger than Bob actually. He's actually the size of Bob, which is strange. I thought he was going to be really, really small, but no, he's really, really big. And so Ralphio comes into the room. Bob's like, stop, and he says, "Can you please go away? Don't do the bunny call. Can you please just get out of here?" Ralphio just stares at Bob. And then Ralphio starts moving, and he gets out. He runs out. He goes out of the room, which he didn't make any noise. He didn't go with the symbols. He just left. He's just like just leaves. Um, and so Bob's like, phew, he's gone. So Bunny Call was cancelled. No, it wasn't cancelled just yet. So, then Bob hears more noises, and he can hear something at the door. He can hear like knocking and stuff. Sorry, I was just checking something. So yeah, he can hear stuff at the door. He goes to the door, um, and he's like, oh no, Ralphio's coming. So he tries to hold the door, he tries to hold it, and then Ralphio keeps banging on the door. He's making loud noises. But since the kids in Wanda have earplugs in, I don't think they can hear any of this. And so then the door opens, and then you can just see a hand, Ralphio's paw sticking out of the door. I mean, I would show you with that door, but I'm too lazy. So he's just imagine this is the door, right? You see the hand on the door. You can just see that hand coming out, and then Bob tries to slam the door on the hand, and then it keeps trying to get in. The hand keeps trying to grab him, not grab him, but get in. But then Bob keeps slamming the door, and then the hand finally slithers away, and then he locks the door, and then yeah, then there goes that hand. And so then it's not over just yet. Ralphio tries to find another way into the house, or the cabin, sorry, because it's cabin nutter. And so he tries to go through the window. So he opens the window, and his hand's coming out of the window, and then Bob gets I think he gets like a tennis racket or something, and he starts hitting his hand. He starts hitting his hand. Not. He starts hitting Ralphio's hand, and then while Ralphio's hand was at the door before, he could the hand went black, and it felt wet. And so now, while he's hitting the door, not hitting the door, while he's hitting the hand, he starts to see blood dripping from the hand, which is weird, very very weird, because excuse me, it's Ralphio, it's a bunny, and blood starts dripping from his hand, and then Bob's like, what the hell? And so then, after Ralphio's hand bleeds, Bob shuts the window, and yeah, so then Ralphio, he's still not done. He still needs to get into the house, and so then Bob hears noises under the house. So Ralphio went under the house. He probably trying to use the basement door now. Not the basement, but the trap door. So he tries to get in with the trap door, and he starts banging on the trap door, and then Bob gets like a suitcase. Just pretend this is a large suitcase. He gets a suitcase, and then he sits on the suitcase, and you can still hear the banging on the trap door. But he's sitting on it. He's sitting on it, so he can't get in. You can feel it. But he's still sitting on the trap door, and then the noise eventually stops, and he takes the stuff off. And yeah, he takes the stuff off, and then Rafa still isn't done. He still wants to get into the house. I don't know why he wants to get into the house that badly, but he still does. So, where do you think he goes next? He's been to the door, he's been to the window, he's been through the trap door, and he hasn't gotten in. There's only one more spot that he could go, and that's upstairs in the room. I don't know what the room's called. It's it's like the attic. The room at the top where the kids are sleeping, as I mentioned before, where the beds were, and they were sleeping at the top of the cabin. So, and there's a ladder leading up there. You guys know what I'm talking about. If I could get a photo of it, I would show you, but I forget what it's called. It's mentioned in the book, but just imagine a top part of the cabin where you climb up with the ladder, and there's beds on top. So yeah, if you guys have been to a cabin, you probably would know what it is. But yeah, we don't have that stuff here in Australia. It's probably more in America. That's why I don't really understand that stuff too much. But anyway, so Bob climbs up the ladder. He goes up, and his kids are sleeping there. So Ralph was trying to get in to near his kids, and so Bob's like, I can't let Ralph get near my kids. They're my kids. And so he goes up, and then Ralphio, half of his body is through the window, half of it, and he's almost in. And then Bob just stares at him. He stops, and he just stares at Ralphio. He's about to get in to the top, and Bob's scared. He doesn't know. So, oh, what the hell? What the hell? Um, Ralpho climbs in a bit more, and it's also dark. I forgot to mention it's very dark in the cabin. Very, 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 very dark. I don't know how Bob can see all this, but yeah, it's dark. And then, just about as Ralpho's about to crawl in, 6 a.m. hits. Ding dong ding. Well, there's no chime, but it's 6 a.m. and the sun starts to rise up. And then Ralph crawls out of the window. He goes, and he disappears. He goes somewhere, and then Bob's kids get up and they're like, "Dad, what are you doing climbing the ladder?" And then his wife gets up, Wanda, and she looks at him and she's like, "What are you doing? It's 6 a.m." And he goes to the kids. He's like, "Oh, you guys know I love you guys," and stuff. He starts hugging them all, and I was like, "Bob, what's happened?" And then he's like, "Nothing, nothing really." And so now Bob loves his kids apparently, and yeah. So then there's like a breakfast thing, so they go to breakfast, and then this guy called Evan, he's like one of the camp managers there, one of the camp people, and he goes ding 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 with like a knife and fork or something, and he stands up on the table, but I can't really stand up because my wires are gonna. He stands up and he's like ding ding ding, and then he starts announcing stuff, and he says, "Hope everyone enjoyed their first night at the camp." And then he goes to address a few things. I would stand up, but there's no table in here, and I'm not going to stand on my chair because it's too dangerous. I need a better chair, guys. So I'm going to read you the last page. Very, very, very good ending. First, Evan said regarding the bunny calls, every cell in Bob's body went on high alert. He tuned in. My apologies to those who signed up for a bunny call, Evan said. They should apologize, Bob thought. The bunny calls couldn't be done this morning because the counselor who usually does bunny calls overslept. Ralpho wasn't able to make his rounds today. Bob stared at Evan. These are really great pancakes, Wanda said. Aren't they, Bob? This was a really good ending when I was reading it. I was like, what? So, Ralpho, the counselor, couldn't do it. He couldn't go into Ralpho, but Ralpho still came to Bob's apartment or his cabin, and he tried to get into the cabin. What? Why? How? How was that possible? And he was bleeding as well, so there must have been something up with that. So, there is something I forgot to mention. When Bob is done with Ralpho, when Ralpho goes away, he does he wipes down the things where the racket or and the door and stuff, but he never looks at it. He doesn't look at it for blood. He's just like, "No, I'm not gonna look." Nah. He just wipes it and he doesn't look. How silly is that? Why would you not look? It's just blood. Oh, scary blood. Oh, Tucker would faint over it. Anyway, he didn't look at it. So we don't know. We don't know. That's the thing with these stories. You don't know anything that happens because Scott and Ellie Cooper and Andrew Wagner, they don't tell you. They don't confirm. They don't confirm anything. Um, but other than that, it was a really good story. One of my favorites. All of the stories in this book was really good. All of the stories in this book was great. But whoops. Um, so yeah. He didn't look. But if the counselor wasn't in the suit, maybe another human was. Maybe it wasn't a human at all, but maybe there was another human in there because if the bunny bled, then what? What? How could the bunny bleed? Maybe it's an animatronic, But animatronics don't bleed, do they? Unless Bob, it was all just a hallucination. Maybe since it could have just been a hallucination that Bob had, because Bob, he probably did have an hallucination. Now that I think about it, because he didn't see any blood when he wiped the things. The person who was in the bunny call couldn't do it. Um, so maybe I reckon it was probably just a hallucination that Bob had. Um, or maybe there was someone else in the suit who wanted to just troll with Bob. It could have been the person, um, trying to, maybe it was someone that wanted to kill Bob. Maybe it could have been someone who wanted to kill Bob, and they tried everything they could. So they could have they just stole the Bunny Call suit to make Bob think that it was Bunny Call, but obviously it didn't work out. Maybe that's a good theory I just thought of. There could have been someone trying to kill Bob in the suit, or maybe not kill Bob, but maybe get to his kids or something, or do something to him. They wouldn't just do that, but yeah, overall good story. Very, very nice ending. I love the twist. But yeah, maybe someone tried to kill Bob in that suit. Um, but moving on. Now let's go to the next story. Which this one has a very, very weird ending. Even weirder than I think it was one of the weirdest endings in any of the Fazbear Frights books. In the Flesh. So in the Flesh, turn on my volume. In the Flesh, it's about a kid. Well, not a kid actually. It's about an adult named Matt. I wonder where you guys have heard that one from. Matt Pat. Yeah, a kid named Matt, and he lives in an apartment with with his friend Jason. He had a wife, but they got divorced, and now he lives with Jason. I think after they got divorced, he started living with Jason, and he didn't have any kids, but yeah. So he, oh my god, why is he lives with Jason, and he's he's working on a VR game, on a game in VR. I have one up there, but I'm not gonna get it down because I can't speak with my mic and then have my VR on. Anyway, so he's you know what? Screw it. I'll get it down just for you guys. So he's making a game, and it's called Springtrap's Revenge. And he's making a game about it, and he works for a company that whoops. Oh, lucky there was no water in that. And he's working for a company that is making like a FNAF game. I don't know if they're all working on the same FNAF game, or they're all working on different individual FNAF VR games. But anyway, they work on FNAF stuff, on FNAF games, VR games. And so Matt's making Springtrap's Revenge. So it's about Springtrap, and he's in a maze, and you gotta go through the maze and not get captured by Springtrap. And so Matt, he's testing the game. So he gets his headset, he puts it on. I can't really put it on with these headphones, but you can imagine that. He puts on the headset and he starts playing. Here, I'll show you. So he starts playing the game and he's like walking around and stuff. He's walking around even though you guys can't hear me, but so he's walking around, and he's walking around with the with the with the headset, and so Springtrap is in the maze, so he's like a maze. There's a huge maze that Matt has to escape, and so he's got to turn around corners, make sure Springtrap isn't around any of the corners, and he's not ready to kill him. So he's got to be ready that Springtrap doesn't kill him. So he he goes to a spot where there's three doors. Three. Three doors, and he's got to pick the right door where Springtrap isn't in. So if he picks the wrong door, Springtrap jump scares him. So Matt's like, what door should I pick to get away from Springtrap? So he picks one of the doors, and guess what happens? Yeah, Springtrap jump scares him. So he loses, and it says game over, and then Matt can see his dead body in the game. He sees his dead body, his dead corpse, just laying there dead. And then Springtrap gets an ear off of the character's he starts eating it. I don't know, he doesn't eat it, but like he gets the ear, he rips it off, and yeah. He yeah, he's dead. In the game, not in real life. So then Matt gets angry and he just gets angry. And he's like, "Oh, Springtrap, you got me." And yeah, he gets pretty pissed. And then so what Matt does, for Springtrap, he researched quite a bit for Springtrap, but he didn't mention anything about William Afton and that someone got in the suit or anything. He never mentioned any of that, which is very strange. He didn't mention like who Springtrap was. He said he's in the book. It just said that he researched so much about killers, and that's how he made Springtrap, by researching a lot about killers. But he didn't mention anything about that how Springtrap's connected to FNAF or the Fazbear Fright and stuff, which is very weird. We'll talk about that later after I'm done explaining this story. But yeah, he researched so much about killers, and that's how he made Springtrap. And for the game, while he's making the game, he puts all of his anger into Springtrap. Just all of his general anger. He just and he puts it into Springtrap, and that's how Springtrap was made in this universe, in the book universe. I'm assuming that's how Springtrap was made. He's just a character in a video game. I don't know if Springtrap, not Screen Track. I don't know if Springtrap exists in this universe. But I will get that. I will get into more detail about that stuff later on in the next story. Anyway, so Matt attempts well, he doesn't attempt to do it again, at least not yet. He he gets he just gets angry, and yeah, so he works for a big company, as I was saying before, and there's posters and promotional stuff about Springtrap's revenge everywhere around the city that he's in, and even his boss is like, Matt, this game, Springtrap's Revenge, it's going to be big, and there's a deadline. There's a deadline that is very very close. And his boss is like, it's going to be big, so I want it to be good. And Matt's like, yep. So yeah, it's going to be big, and a lot of kids are apparently hyped for the game. So yeah. So then after that, Jason he wants Matt to sorry, I'm just getting notifications on my phone. Anyway, and so Jason invites these two girls over to so they can go on like a double date. Matt goes with one, then Jason goes with one, and the same. And so then someone knocks on the door. Matt goes to open it, and he sees the two girls, and the pretty one, I forget their name. Excuse me. Yeah, I'll look in the book and see their names. And then Matt thinks that he's going with Matt thought he was going with where? Sorry, guys, I'm just looking for it. Oh, Megan. So Megan and Eva, they were both in, and so Mega was the prettier one. Oh, Megan, not Mega. Megan was the prettier one, and Eva was, not the ugly one, but she was not as pretty as Megan was. And Matt was like, ooh, and he thought that he was going with Megan, and and yeah, he thought he was going with Megan, but that was actually Jason's date, and he was going with Eva, and he's like, oh, I have to go with Eva. I want to go with Megan. But no, it was pretty funny. I think it was pretty funny because he got the wrong he got the wrong person, and so then they go out, and then um Matt's he was really he talked a lot about himself. He didn't really give Jason a chance to talk. He just wanted to talk all himself because of he wanted to get Megan, but then after they were doing that, Megan and Matt were talking, and then Matt's like, "Oh, can I have your number?" And then Megan's like, "But Jason's your best friend. Why would you want my number?" And then she starts saying how he was talking all to himself, and then he storms off, goes in the car. He doesn't take Eva with him, which he was supposed to, and yeah. And so then this part was supposed to go before the part I was just talking about. But anyway, so then Matt tries to attempt the game again. And what do you think happens? He tries to attempt Springtrap's revenge, but it doesn't work. He gets angry. He grabs his headset. He grabs the headset, and when he loses, he's like, "Oh," and he throws it. He throws it, and he gets angry, and then he gets his coffee, and he throws it against the wall. He's like, "Oh, just pretend this is coffee, guys." He goes, and it splatters all over the wall, the brown coffee. He's got some anger issues, man. I mean, yeah, I get a bit angry too, but I don't get that pissed. I don't throw stuff. Well, I might throw stuff. Depends on the game. Anyway, he got angry. He threw the coffee, and then one of his co-workers came in, and she said, "Oh, is everything all right, Matt? How's the game going?" And then he's like, "Yeah, all right." I don't think she saw the coffee splatter though. Yeah. Then Matt he decides, all right, Springtrap wants to play like that. So, he's gonna get it. So Springtrap, well Matt, excuse me, Matt, sorry. He got the he went into the code for the game and he changed it up a bit. And he said for every 1 second in real life, it's 1,000 seconds for Springtrap. So Springtrap will be walking around in the maze for so long, and yeah, that's pretty pretty insane thing to do. Poor Springtrap, he's getting abused by Matt. So Springtrap's stuck now. So you guys could imagine that every 1 second is 1,000 seconds for Springtrap. He would be in there for a very, very, very long time. And yeah, so when he got back to the apartment, he was with Jason. Jason asked him about Springtrap, and he said, "Oh, Springtrap's gonna have an interesting evening." And then the part where Megan and Eva was supposed to was supposed to come after this bit, but I accidentally got them mixed up. So after Matt toyed with Springtrap and made him every 1 second, 1,000 seconds in the game, then the girls come, and then that happens, and then when they get back, after the thing, um, let's see. So then they go out. Matt, wait, did I get them mixed up? Hold on a second. Anyway, this still isn't this is still before Megan and Eva came. So then Matt goes back into the game, and there was a few changes to the code, and what happened was a new Springtrap would come and kill the old Springtrap, and then it would all get the cycle would keep going on. So one Springtrap died because it got killed by another Springtrap, and then another Springtrap would come in, and then it would kill that Springtrap, and the cycle went on and on and on. And then, excuse me, Matt went into the game, and he went to go look for Springtrap. And he saw Springtrap, his lifeless body. He saw it just laying there, and it had it was splayed on its back with its torso split wide open. And so Matt looks at it, and he sees Springtrap's gears protrude from the edge of the gaping wound, and then yeah, Springtrap was dead. And so then Matt went to reach in and touch Springtrap, and then he felt an electrical jolt, like, and then he pulled his hand back, and he's like, what? So like it like shocked him, which was weird because it was in the game, and it shocked him. But I think this is a very important part that you guys should remember for later on. So just remember this. Remember this. He got shocked when he touched Springtrap. So then Matt, he spent 3 hours, 2 hours trying to fix the code. He couldn't. And don't forget the deadline was coming up very soon, and yeah, he's the game isn't going very well. So yeah, it was weird. Anyway, and then the girls, he goes out with the girls and stuff. So Matt then he goes out with the girls that I was saying. And so then he tries to he goes back. Hold on a second. I'm just looking at stuff. So then Gary, his boss, says that the game has to be ready by Friday. And Friday is very is like close. I think it's like Sunday or something. So yeah, Friday is the deadline. So Matt needs to come up with a plan to get the game working again. So he wanted to program a new Springtrap that follows the code it's supposed to. Because the old program is so messed up that it won't have any impact on the game anyway. So no one's gonna know it's there. So then he jumps to this other part where there's this guy called Gene, and he somehow manages, I don't know how, he gets an early copy of Springtrap's Revenge, and he starts to play it, and he saw the room with 4 doors, and so he goes through one of the doors, and he's getting ready for the jump scare. No jump scare. So, Gene was like, where's Springtrap? Why isn't he in the game? Because this is Springtrap's revenge, so where is he? And then, his mum calls him, dinner's ready! And then, he's like, I'll be there in a minute, and then, excuse me. Gene, saw the, Springtrap's dead body, the one that was split, you know, the one I was talking about before. He saw it there, and he was like, oh, it's a game over for Springtrap. That's weird. He was weirded out by it because he was wondering why it was like that. And he looked at the code, and the code so the program that initiated the extraction, because he wanted to fix the code because apparently Springtrap had been extracted from the very game that bore his name in the title, and the program that initiated the extraction was inexplicably called "It's a Boy.exe." Remember that as well. Remember the shock, and remember the so yeah, remember that stuff. And then I don't know why it went to that Gene bit, but I think I know why. But yeah, so Gene hacked the game, and now it's gone back to Matt. We don't see Gene. We don't hear from Gene, this Gene character, ever again. So yeah. Then we then after that, Matt, he um, let's see what happens after that. So then Matt so there's a meeting for the for the you know, the game thing for the from the company. He just wait a second, guys. Okay, so after Matt goes out with Megan and Eva and Jason, after they all go, um Matt goes out with this girl, and Madison, he goes out with her, and he eats quite a lot of food. Like he goes, he starts eating very intensely. And then she says her cat is sick, and she says thanks for dinner, and then she had to leave. And then yeah. So then Matt looked in the mirror, and it looked like he got a few pounds. He got a bit more fat, and so he was probably thinking that it was because he ate so much of the dinner last night. And so then they have and then there's a meeting for the company that's making these FNAF VR games. And so they're saying that so they're saying stuff about Springtrap's revenge and everything. And yeah, so then Matt got a bit angry because Gary was saying that people were reviewing the game, and they're saying that it's challenging, the game's challenging, but they said that the AI design of Springtrap is sloppy and not up to the game's usual standards. That's what the reviewers were saying, according to Gary. And then Matt got angry, and he just ran. He just went from the conference room, And he was just very, very angry. He was in a big rage, and he got even fatter now. He's even more fat. And so then Jason talks about what happened with Megan the night before, and Eva saying how he shouldn't have asked her for his number and stuff. And he starts talking about that and saying, "Come on, man, why would you do this?" And then Matt apologizes, and Jason says he's gonna move out from the place. He's gonna move out, and yeah. So he moves out. He moves out from the place, and then he has another date, and he's pretty fat, which he's you know. So he goes on another date with this other girl, and then when he goes to the date, they start talking about how he's a video game developer and stuff. And Emma's her name. And then Matt says, "I've got to go. This isn't gonna work out." And she said, "No, wait, you didn't even talk to me. It's too soon." And then he said, "Okay, Emma, I'm sure you have a great personality, but when you post a picture of yourself on a dating site, it needs to look like you, not you 25 pounds ago." And then Emma's mouth dropped open, and she said, "You can't. How would you have the nerve to say that to me?" And she says it's shallow and offensive. And then she says, when have you looked in the mirror lately? Feel free, they're everywhere in this place. Did your picture online was at least 35 pounds ago. And she calls him a hypocrite. And then Matt gets out of here and he says this date's over. And he heard a pop, 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 and it's his buttons and on his shirt, and they're popping open. He's he's getting bigger as they keep popping. And he's like, crap. And then everyone was laughing at him in the restaurant. And then Emma said, "I can't believe it. This is the best date ever. Wait till I tell my friends." And then Matt got so embarrassed and his belt buckle it snapped open as well because he was getting even more fat. And so then he went back to his apartment, and he kept feeling it, his belly getting even fatter and fatter. And he felt something in there, and it was like something was banging on his belly. And then a tiny spring trap bursts out of his belly, and it's the size of a healthy newborn infant, and it literally crawls out of his belly, and now Matt's bleeding everywhere. And it was real. It was real. And the spring trap stood over Matt, and it sat on the floor next to him, and it rested on his head, and he was losing so much blood. And then Springtrap said, "Daddy." I Let me just read the end bit. So, um, cops come to the house and they start interviewing Jason, saying what's happened, anything you know. And Matt's dead now. He's dead because of loss of blood. And Jason said, "Oh yeah, I think he was kind of depressed." Yeah, Jason said he'd had a nasty divorce and breakups from a few rebound relationships after that. I still got the feeling there was a lot of stress at work, though he wasn't the kind of person who'd talk about that kind of thing that much. Jason looked down at his friend's body. It was the last thing he wanted to see, so why did he keep looking at it? Why would someone do this to themselves? The officer looked up from his notes. "Well, son, in my line of work, you never stop being surprised about what people are capable of." He looked down at the body, then squinted as if he was seeing something he hadn't noticed before. He put on a plastic glove, then squatted on the floor, reaching for something. It was a clump of something green and fuzzy, like the artificial fur from a stuffed animal. Do you have any, excuse me, idea what this could be? The officer asked. Jason looked at the unfamiliar green fur. It was covered in unpleasant slime like a clear mucus. I have no idea, Jason said. The officer rolled slimy hairs between his finger and thumb, looking at them with apparent confusion, then shrugged and wiped his hand on a clean paper towel. So, it's basically like the movie Alien. Springtrap pops out of Matt's belly, which was really, really weird. That's why everyone's saying that this is the weirdest story in the book, and it is the weirdest story in the book. Springtrap literally came out of Matt's belly, and Matt Pat still needs to do a theory on that. I'm waiting for a Matt Pat. Where is it? Um. So yeah, but as I was saying before, remember how when Matt touched Springtrap's dead body, he got like a shock? I think that when he touched Springtrap, something went inside of him when he got shocked. Springtrap, I don't know, something from Springtrap, when he got shocked, it must have went into his body, and yeah, I reckon that's what happened. And so then Springtrap got into Matt's belly. I don't know how, it just did. And it must have kept growing and growing and growing until it obviously popped out like Alien, like the movie Alien, like when the alien comes out of the guy's belly. If you guys have ever watched Alien, but yeah. And then when Gene hacked the game and it said it's a boy, that obviously hints that when Springtrap came out of the belly, it's a boy. So yeah, very, very weird story, and I did not expect Springtrap to say daddy. That was a real weird. Imagine that's how Springtrap was made, guys. He came out of Matt Pat's belly. Imagine if that's the actual story. No. Anyway, so yeah, it must have happened when Matt touched Springtrap. That must have been when Springtrap got into Matt's belly, and yeah. So very weird, but as I was saying before, Springtrap was never mentioned about anything about Fazbear Fright or how William Afton was inside of Springtrap, because apparently Matt created Springtrap himself. He might be in the story in that, like, he could be in this series, in this book series, but he might not be. It was weird because I thought, yeah, he could have Matt would have just based Springtrap off of Springtrap, but he didn't. Apparently, he created Springtrap himself, which was very weird. I don't know why Matt would have created him, but yeah. So Springtrap came out of Guy's belly. Now that's how weird these Fazbear Fright stories. That's probably the weirdest book I've ever read. I mean, the weirdest story I've ever read. But yeah. So on to the last story of the book. If you guys have any theories about why Springtrap came out of someone's belly, please comment down below. I'd love to hear you guys' theories. But yeah, it's probably when Matt touched Springtrap. I think that's what happened. That's why he got that shock. So the last story, which was probably one of my favorite stories out of this whole series, The Man in 1280. The Man in Room 1280. So it's about this guy called Arthur. He's a priest. He's also called Father Blythe. They also call him Father Blythe as well. And so he goes to this hospital called Hercules Hospital, and he goes with this person called Ruby. She's a nurse, and she's going to be a nurse at that at Hercules Hospital. And so Father Blythe, Arthur, wants to check out this man in a room called 1280. So he goes to the room, and one of the nurses there don't know what to know. One of the nurses, I forget her name, but anyway. Oh, sorry. Anyway, um, or maybe is it Mia who gets the nurse job? Anyway, so he goes in, and Nurse Ackerman, she takes him to the room, and Father Blythe goes into the room, and he sees what awaits him there. A man, burnt. Um, he's all bony. He has no skin left, no no pupils, no eyes. And he's got like a hole where his nose was, and his skin's red because it's burnt, and his whole body's just burnt, and man, it goes into very, excuse me, it goes into detail, and it smells in the room as well. But the thing that got me that I thought was weird was that the man's still alive, even though he burnt. Um, he's still alive somehow, and apparently he was burnt in this place that was connected to Fazbear Entertainment. I think that's what happened. I don't remember, but yeah. So it's weird, and then Father Blythe starts talking to he tries to start he starts trying to talk to this man. He starts asking him questions, and then Nurse Ackerman's like, "What the hell? Why are you asking him questions?" And then the man, his hand spells out letters. Father Blythe inspects them, and he writes FAZBENTERDI. And so Father Blythe thinks of things. He tries to think of words, and he thinks of Fazbenter Center, Fazbenter Dis Center, Fazbenter Dis Center, Fazb Enter Dis Center. And then one of the nurses is like, Fazbear Entertainment Distribution Center. And then the other nurse is like, why did you say that? And then Arthur's like, oh, perfect, thank you. And then he starts talking to the dead man. Well, he's not dead, he's actually alive. Sorry. He says, is that where you used to work? You got nothing. You have family there? No. You have unfinished business there? No. You hid something there? No. Was it the last place you got hurt? No. You need something from there? No. You've always wanted to go there. Then the monitor started to react, and the monitors fell silent for a few seconds, and then they started beeping again. So he wants to go there. He wants to go to the Fazbear Entertainment Distribution Center. And so the nurse Ackerman doesn't want him to take the man there. You can see why. I mean, he is in a hospital, but he's a priest after all. He's dealt with paranormal stuff before, but he wants to take the man to that place, and he talks to so many people. He tries to convince so many people that he wants to take this man there. He wants to take this man there. He keeps saying it and saying it. He wants to do it very, very badly, but no one's letting him. No one's letting him. And so around the hospital, apparently a lot of people have been seeing this boy in a crocodile mask with black hair. Apparently they've been seeing that boy around the hospital. They've just been seeing him everywhere around the hospital. Everyone has seen him. And so, yeah. But the Father Blythe hasn't seen him yet though. So then then the so sorry, as I was saying before, Mia is the nurse. Not that other girl. Mia is the nurse that's working at Hercules Hospital. So one of the nurses, so the three nurses, Nurse Colton, Nurse Ackerman, and Nurse Thomas, they come up with the plan that they're gonna kill this man. Hey, that rhymed. I didn't even mean to. So they come up with a plan to kill this man. I should make a rap, guys. You guys, I'm really good at rap. Ask Connor. He knows that I'm a good rapper. Ask him, and he'll say, yeah, he's the best. Anyway, so they come up with a plan to kill this man. Okay, I'm done. So they're gonna kill him. They're gonna try to kill him. And so Nurse Ackerman gets a lot of morphine. So she gets morphine, and she starts putting it into the thing, into the what does she put it into? She put it into the let me just make sure. She injected the first morphine into the man's IV port. So she started injecting it and injecting it, and she kept doing it. She put quite a lot in actually. And then she heard a giggle. And then she looked and she saw this little boy with black hair. And it was the same boy I was saying before, how everyone was seeing a boy with a crocodile mask around the hospital. That was the boy. That was the boy here. And then he just runs out of the room. And then Nurse Ackerman starts thinking about her kid's death, her son's death, and then she snaps out of it. So then she snaps out of it, and she doesn't then yeah, so she snaps out of that, out of what she was thinking about, and then so as sorry. So then what happened after that? After she snapped out of that, she so she reached for one of the vials, and then a shadow flashed in front of her, about the size of a child, and then when it went by, all of the vials threw off the bed and hurtled toward the floor, where they shattered on impact. Morphine puddled ink innocuously on the tiles. So whatever that thing was didn't want that man to die. So the man's still alive. He didn't die. And now Nurse Thomas had a plan. So what she wanted to do, she wanted to get a pillow and then just get a pillow and go to the man. It's like the scene in Joker. If you guys ever watched Joker, you would have seen where Arthur Peck gets the pillow and he kills his mum. Pretty sad scene, but yeah. So that's what she wants to do. So she grabs a pillow, and I'll get a pillow actually. So she grabs the pillow and she practiced before this with a pillow. She practiced on nothing. She practiced for 5 minutes holding down a pillow for 5 minutes straight. She was doing this for 5 minutes straight, holding a pillow down on like a desk or something. She was practicing 5 minutes to just do that for 5 minutes. Imagine that, 5 minutes holding a pillow down or something. And so she practiced that, and then she so she went to do that. She went she got the pillow, and then she put the pillow on the man, and then when the pillow when she was choking when she was putting the pillow on the man, blood started to pour out. Or blood started to you could see blood all on the pillow. She was doing that, and then blood was coming on the pillow. And she did that for 6.5 minutes. She held the pillow for 6.5 minutes with blood on it, and then beep, beep, beep. The monitor started going beep, 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 and then it was a flat line. Nothing. Excuse me. And so she did it. She killed the man. But no, she had not killed the man. The man was, in fact, well, she did kill the man for a brief moment until the shadow came back out. So the shadow darted in front of her, and then it tore the pillow from her, and then the pillow ruptured and its contents ejected into the room and all over her, and then the blood went into her mouth and up her nose, and slime got into her eyes, and cloth and foam stuck to the blood and the slime, and then the monitors went back to their rate back to what they were before. It was just beep beep, just the regular monitor. So yeah, this shadow thing is keeping this man alive, and Arthur's still trying to get the man to the distribution center. So now the nurses started talking about that shadow that they've seen. And the boy's still roaming around the hospital. Everyone's still been seeing the boy. And now it's Nurse Colton's turn to do something. She set her tote. So what she was trying to do, she lit candles so the ghost could get trapped in the candles. And she she got a syringe just full of air, just syringes full of air, and then she was gonna stab it into the man. So she got the syringe full of air, ready to stab the man. So she injected it into the IV port, and she thought she'd succeed because of the circle of candles. But it didn't work. It obviously didn't work. She kept doing the syringe, and then the syringe leaped from her hand, and then it spun, and it shot like an arrow into her throat. So I don't have anything that's gonna be like a syringe, do I? Just pretend this is the syringe, right? So she has it, something picks it up, and then it gets injected into her throat, right? So it's in her throat, and then she knew she was gonna die, so she got the syringe, and she grabbed it, threw it onto the floor, and smashed. There goes the syringe. She could have died. She was nearly dead then. And then a hot blast of air rushed through the room and extinguished every candle flame. And then yeah. So then she heard a giggle from outside the hallway, and she ran into one of the nurses, Nurse Fremont. That was a different nurse. It wasn't the three nurses that tried to kill the man. And then she said that that little boy went that way, and then yeah. Well, no, she didn't say Mia. So um after the so all three attempts for the man didn't work. The shadow stopped them all, and then after that, Mia saw the little boy. You know, that person that was with Father Blythe. One of the other nurses that's working there now. So she saw the boy, and then yeah, so she sees the boy. Then Father Blythe, um he finally he did it. He was signing papers to take the man, excuse me, to Fazbear Entertainment Distribution Center, and he said, and on the papers it said, if if any injury or death happens to this man, it's his fault, and he signed it, so he's gonna be able to do it. And then Mia said to him that you can't do this. It's just not meant to be. You just don't. You can't. You can't do it. And then Father Blythe said, I have to do it. So he does it. Hugs Mia. And so Father Blythe takes the man in 128 in room 1280 to the Fazbear Entertainment Distribution Center. And there was a few white buildings there, long flat metal sided blocks, hurriedly placed in clusters by a gargantuan child. The buildings must have been there at least 20 years. So he takes him. There was a front entrance that they could have went through, but Father Blythe is like, oh no, we're gonna go around the back way or something. So he goes around the back way, and the man in the back of the truck or whatever, he's like, he starts pointing at the place, and so Father Blythe takes him in into the building. He drags him in, and then this is the ending bit. Ow! This is the ending bit, and I'll read it to you, or I'll tell it to you. So he takes the man in there, and then the man, when he's in the distribution center, he starts shaking. Oh, and by the way, he also sees a guy walk past him, and then so the man in room 1280, he starts to shake. Yeah, he's shaking, and blood's going everywhere. He's blood, and then he explodes. He literally just explodes, and his body parts flew everywhere. And I'll read you the last page. But as he prayed, he heard something that wiped even the thought of his prayer from his mind. He heard a rush of pattering footsteps, like sprightly footsteps, caspering away from the shelving area of the building. What was that? Arthur wiped his eyes again and looked around. At first all he saw was the man's remains. For the first time since Arthur had gathered the courage to look at the man, all the exposed insides were still. Then Arthur's gaze landed on a trail of tiny footsteps that were stamped in the man's charred blood and fluids. Excuse me. He followed the trail and saw the footprints continue away from the man, etching the floor in the man's blood-like, fearful hieroglyphs marking the way. The way to where? The man had moved on, but something hadn't. Father, is everything okay? The man's voice, pitched high in shock, asked Arthur. Arthur turned. The speaker was the red-headed man with the clipboard. He stared at the floor, his face blanched, his eyes wide. Actually, no, I don't think everything is okay. Arthur said. For the first time in his life, he was sure of it. So, it was a very good story. So, my theories, that something was keeping him alive. It was obviously the boy in the crocodile mask was keeping that man alive, and yeah, he was keeping him alive that whole time, and he yeah, he was keeping him alive, and so the man, the spirit, I wouldn't say if it went free, but it did come out. It did like get out of his body when it exploded because of the footprints. That was the boy, the shadow. That was he escaped from the body. So a very interesting story. But it does confirm quite a few things. But first, I want to read you guys, or I don't want to read you guys, but I want to tell you guys about the Stitch Wraith, that story in the book. So the Stitch Wraith at the end, it always it's always at the end of every book. This is the 5th one now, and so yeah, so I'm gonna. So Detective Larson, he was looking around, and he went back to what's his name, Dr. Phineas's lab, and so he saw like there was pictures of the Stitch Wrath, and he was saying that there was the robotic dog, that was Fetch, the endoskeleton, and yeah, that stuff. And so he said that Larson's current investigation, it could be connected to the Freddy's murders. So there was 5 murders. There was murders in this series. So there was a series. I mean, there was a series of murders, and then after that, um, Larson's Larson was talking about the fire. So he was thinking about the fire in the past. That what the hell? Anyway, whoa. Okay, so Larson was saying that about the fire, that it was connected to one of the Fazbear Entertainment founders. So it could either be Henry or maybe even Will. So well, yeah, he started talking about the fire. Um then it goes to this guy called Grim. Um and he saw the Stitch Wrath. Grim saw the Stitch Wrath and stuff. So he tried to find. We tried to look at the Stitch Wrath, and then So guys, I'm just reading just so I can see. So yeah, it's the Then it goes into the So yeah, Grim sees the Stitch Wrath, and then it goes to the Stitch Wrath. So it goes from Larson to Grim to the Stitch Wrath, and it goes back to Jake and Andrew, and then Andrew told Jake all the infected things. He didn't list them, but it says that's what he said. He told them. So then Andrew figured out. He understood that he was in an animatronic endoskeleton run by a battery pack, and um he knew that he was looking at the world through a doll's eyes. So he knew that. He figured it out, obviously. But he felt silly that he was wearing a hooded trench coat. He felt really silly about it. I wouldn't feel silly. I think it looked pretty cool. And then Jake has a memory. When he was in what was the memory about? It was about like he was at a place and then yeah, I think he had a memory and he knew he had a memory and yeah, then he could yeah, so then after that Andrew asked what are the flowers for because there was flowers there and keeps asking about the flowers and I'll read you guys the last page. Jake began to feel as if he was being sucked out of the thing he was in. He felt like he was a puff of smoke, and he was being borne by a current away from the being that he had contained him. He could feel himself being pulled into the memory itself, and he intuitively understood that if he was enveloped in the memory, he could stay in that happy place forever. The crack of a bat resounded, and the crowd rose to its feet, cheering. Get your glove up, Jake, his dad shouted. So he was at a baseball game, obviously. Jake raised his baseball gloved hand, and he drifted even further from the animatronic he'd been in. Jake, where are you going? Jake, Andrew shouted. Jake realized he could relax into this wonderful memory and allow the whole of who he was to be extracted from the animatronic that contained him in Andrew. He could stop trying so hard, he could go have fun. Jake, Andrew called out. His new friend had never known love, and if Jake left, Andrew would be lost forever. Jake couldn't let that happen. Jake looked at the hard piles of trash in the compactor. He was forced from the memory from his mind by putting his whole attention on what was here now. He wiped the memory away from his awareness like he was erasing a blackboard. As he did, he settled back into his place in the animatronic. He watered the flowers and he ignored Andrew's related requests. So that was a Stitch Wrath. Pretty interesting end to that Stitch Wrath. So they can have memories. Jake can have memories and stuff. And if you guys remember in the last Stitch Wrath story, because we haven't done one of these book reviews in a long, long time, Andrew was actually angry at someone, and excuse me, he kept them alive by torturing them. And the man in room 1280 could be that man that Jake was talking about. So, yeah. Jake probably was that angry spirit who was keeping the man in room 1280 alive. And does that sound familiar to you guys? Someone keeping someone alive, torturing them? Yeah. William Afton. That's right. William Afton is... I wouldn't say William Afton is that person, but it does confirm a few things for us. There are multiple souls in Golden Freddy, and well, so this sort of confirms quite a bit of stuff about Ultimate Custom Night. William Afton could be alive in Ultimate Custom Night. He could still be alive somewhere, maybe in a hospital. After the fire, he could still be alive, and Golden Freddy is keeping him alive, torturing him in his head, maybe. So, yeah, very, very interesting stuff. And there could be multiple souls because there could be Cassidy, there could be the other souls that we were talking about. The crying child could be in there as well. And the one you should not have killed. Very, very interesting stuff, guys. So yeah, it all relates to the games, Ultimate Custom Night, all of that. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I think it was one of my favorites, so I'm going to end the video there. I hope you guys enjoyed today's book review slash theories. So please leave a like, guys, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.